Hey YouTube, welcome back to Christian Does DIY. Today I got a little project I'm doing on the Silverado. I want to get one of those 12 volt refrigerator cooler deals to keep in the back of the truck for when the family and I are traveling. Unfortunately, I don't currently have power in the truck bed, so we're going to be running some power to the battery to a 12 volt outlet. This specific one is Blue Sea Systems. It's rated up to 15 amps. That's one thing you want to consider if you're doing a project like this, is to make sure your power source can handle the load that whatever you're plugging in is going to do. A lot of the stuff on Amazon you'll find is only a couple amps that it's rated for, so it's pretty much good for like charging a phone. So you want to get something heavy duty enough if you're going to be running larger items. So this one has the 12 volt socket. It's also got some USB ports as well as a switch so I can turn the whole thing off. So go ahead and we'll show you a little bit of what we have to do here. All right, so here's the back of the truck. Basically, the first thing I've done here, went ahead and started, I cut a hole in the back of the truck here. This is where the outlet's going to go. It's basically going to sit back in here just like this. Eventually, this plastic liner is going to come out. I'm going to spray line this with like a Line-X or a Rhino liner or something like that. So for now, I've just kind of peeled this back because I might just go ahead and pull this out because I think I'm going to go ahead and do that soon. Then I also went ahead and pulled my taillight off because that gives me access here to run all the wiring. Basically what we need to do here is with this specific outlet, I've got to run power to this terminal here and then a ground to this one. So I'm going to run 10 gauge wiring all the way basically from here and up to the truck battery. And then I'm going to do just a single wire here that's going to end up being grounded to the frame. That should be pretty much all we're going to do. So basically, like I said, I've done 10 gauge wiring. I went ahead and did a terminal. This is going to connect to my battery. We do have a fuse here. And then the rest of this wiring is going to run all the way from the battery back up here to the taillight location. So we'll go ahead and we'll figure out exactly how we're going to route this wiring, and we'll be right back. All right, so here we are in the front of the truck under the hood. Here's my battery. Basically, all we're going to end up doing here is running that wire up to the positive, and then we're gonna have to figure out here how we're gonna route it down and under to the frame, and where exactly we're gonna run and secure this wiring. Now the Silverados do have a separate location already for a second battery. I may eventually end up running an auxiliary battery here, which this outlet would eventually hook up to. But for now, the only thing I think I'm going to be running at the moment is just the 12 volt cooler. So this would be a little overkill and unnecessary. So I'm just going to use my starter battery because the cooler I'm going to get's also got low voltage protection anyways. So it should stop pulling a charge before this battery gets so low that I can't start the truck. So for now, this is what we're doing. Eventually, I'm going to put a battery in here, and then I would hook it up to here. So let's go ahead and figure out how to do this wiring. All right, everybody. So here's the end of my wire right here. It's going to go to the battery. And as you can see, I started zip tying it here. I'm still going to secure it down here, but basically I'm following that tubing all the way along. And then I actually got some more and ran my wire through it. And so I've basically followed this other tubing straight down to the frame. And underneath here, basically it's come down right in here, and I've kind of followed all this tubing straight up through here and down the frame. So here it is right here, and I've pretty much followed this big piece of plastic tubing all the way back, all the way down to the bed of the truck. And I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like back down there. All right, so here we are under the bed of the truck. Right there's my gas tank, and right there's my power wire. And again, I pretty much zip tied it all along, following all this other wiring that's going all the way back. And so then I'm going up and over this thing. And then here's all the wiring and stuff for my my harness, my 7-way harness. But then I just followed this back along here, and then here we are. Here's my wire. It's going up through this hole in the side of the bed and out the hole that I drilled for the outlet. So basically, yeah, we're just gonna pull all this through and push it up a little bit. And yeah, now we're ready to wire it up. I still will need to run the ground wire down and ground it to the frame somewhere. I've not decided the spot yet, but we've at least got the power line running from the battery all the way to the outlet location. And then here we are right here at the outlet location, and I got my wire up. So basically now I'm gonna cut it back now that I know exactly how much I need, and we can wire into that socket. All right, everybody, so for my positive wire running to the battery that I just ran, I went ahead and put a connector on the end, did some heat shrink, and then I made a ground wire. So this end I'm going to bolt down to the frame somewhere, and then this other end is what's going to connect to the switch. So on this particular switch, positive is going to hook up right here. That's where the switch is. And then the ground is going to come off of here. And then we're going to go ahead and screw that in. So I'm going to go ahead and hook those up, screw that in, and last steps, well, 2 steps are going to be to ground this to the frame and then connect at the battery. So. All right, everybody, so here we are underneath the truck frame. Yeah, it's a bit rusty. I do need to fluid film this, but right up here is my ground wire from the 12-volt outlet, and I just attached it to the ground location of my trailer wiring harness. So that is my ground location. Now all we have to do is go up front and connect the positive to the battery, and we should have power to this outlet. All right, so here we are at the battery. First thing you want to do is disconnect the negative. And then on your positive side, what I've done is connected the power cable running back to the outlet. Now I could have attached it here, however, I didn't have the hole in my connector wasn't big enough to go over these studs, so I put it over here. So that should work just fine. So now all I'm gonna do is reconnect my negative, and then we're gonna go see whether this outlet works. All right, so here we are in the back of the truck at the outlet, and if we hit that switch, you can see that the light has turned on, so there is power going to it. The USB ports have the green light, and I will go ahead and we'll get a voltmeter and we'll test the 12-volt socket there. All right. There you go, guys. That's about 13 volts that is showing. So we got great power running to it. That's also the benefit of running that 12 gauge wiring. You're gonna get a lot less voltage drop because of the distance between the battery and this outlet. So that's a really good reason to use at least a 10 gauge wiring there. So this should work great for powering the refrigerator, and yeah, I thought this went really well, turned out great. Thanks for watching, guys. I will have a link to all the items that I used for this install in the description below. Those are affiliate links. So if you're interested in doing this project yourself, feel free to check those out. If this was helpful to you guys, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.